always want to try to change your environment, and that doesn't necessarily mean location or types of people, but it can really mean anything. And in my case, when it was moving from Texas to New York, kind of moving from the South to what is essentially the media capital of the world, I just had an entire perspective change. Growing up in the South, your perspectives, what you learn, even your values to some extent are different than what you may experience and learn and hold close to you when you're in New York City. And I think that change of perspective and having kind of that duality really helped me not only grow as a person, as a young person, 18, moving to New York City, but it also really helped me view the media in an interesting way. I'd say that especially today, that there are so many different online tools, pieces of software, things like that, that are being used in media every day. And whether it's on the business side or the production side, I suggest learning those. And they don't take a ton. And you all are going to be much more digitally savvy than even my generation is. So I'm sure you're already used to a great deal of them. And in some ways, social media is the preeminent tool. But I suggest for the more professional things out there, it's worth taking a free course online or something like that every now and then. If it's something that you think is of interest to you, you never know if it'll come into play later on. And that happens, at places like Google and YouTube, where I came from, where, all of a sudden they're using these tools that I didn't necessarily have experience in. And all of a sudden they're saying this is something we need to learn. So always try to learn what other people are using. So take advantage of your youth. Oftentimes it'll mean that you get opportunities to lead things that aren't necessarily that important or that integral to a business at the time, but you never know when they will be that for the business that you work for. One regret I have is not making more progress there. I think I would, part of me was so happy to be there and learn so much. And, sometimes you get caught up in the day-to-day work of doing your job. And I think, again, it's somewhat specific to media. I'm sure it expands to other industries as well, but you always want to think about how can you make a splash? How can you do something unique, make a mark for yourself? I think that's very important with media. It's not to make it sound superficial, but you'll hear a lot of times that media is a hit-driven business, and that is true in both the relationship with consumers and having big, awesome movies and TV shows, but I think it also affects your career. If you're the person behind those big TV shows, the subscriber numbers going up at the New York Times or the latest Disney movie, that's what people are going to look at you for. That's how they're going to view your career. And so having those things on your resume is very important. So, try not to just get caught up in the day-to-day stuff, but always make sure that you're looking for opportunities to do something impactful. And this really just kind of goes back to, the other lesson about how do you make people feel? And if you do something big and awesome, obviously that's going to have an impact on how people feel about you.